All right, welcome to episode 91 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me once again are my two lovely co-hosts. The one that I still don't know what he looks like, Chris.
I look like the air. And hello.
All I've had is a piece of art to go by and a lovely glowing color ball to look at during the show. And my other host, Steven.
Hello.
I can see Steven. You can see
Yeah.
Steven, as long as the video works.
I am not a red ball of rage.
That is Steven. All right, so today we're going to be trying out our more simplified format for the show. We're basically covering one news topic. We're still going to talk about what we've been doing, which will cover a few things, and then we're going to have our big question afterwards. So I hope you like Nintendo, because boy, we are going to talk about Nintendo today. But to start us off, and we'll go ahead and start with Chris, because I can't tell if he's ready or not. The ball just stares at me without any emotion or feeling. Chris, what have you been up to?
Let's see. Well, I finished Street Fighter 6 World Tour. I 100%ed it as far as that can be done.
That is terrifying, by the way.
Yeah,
I know. He's a monster when he wants to beat something.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I tend to get obsessed over very few video games. I can count them on like one hand.
I can respect that.
But when I do I practically don't leave. Sometimes I'll forget to sleep. And the last three that did that to me were Persona 5 Royal, Tears of the Kingdom, and now Street Fighter 6.
Oh, wow.
Aside from that,
he's beaten Persona 5 Royale more than there are ports of Skyrim.
I need to finish that. I have it on the Switch now. My son bought it for me.
It's very fun, but of course I am a little biased. And I would be playing more Street Fighter 6, except I use a PS5 controller that I have hooked up to my PC, and it disconnects at the worst possible times.
Ooh.
And of course you can't say that, because that just means you suck at the game. People never get to controller problems. It's you that you're the scrub.
Right.
But aside from that, I
even
also...
physically connected, it disconnects?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I don't know if it's because it's a PS5 controller and it's not supposed to be hooked up. I'm going to be trying other controllers, maybe because it's, designed for it. I'll try an Xbox One controller or Series X, whatever they're up to now.
Yeah, Series X, I'd say it'd be better.
Yeah, I tried there's a demo for the pixel game Toxic Crusaders, which is the same bent as Shredder's Revenge, a pixel beat 'em up, and it was a lot of fun. It actually,
good throwbacks.
Yeah, it did the actual formula of the Saturday morning cartoon, where they basically do fourth wall quips during the fights, and it's a fun little thing. And since I have to wait for my joints to stop hurting to play Street Fighter 6, I went back to Tears of the Kingdom. I found a working dupe glitch, and I got some... I upgraded the Link Champion Tunic thing to max defense.
Is it that what do you call it? The 3 arrows?
Yeah, the 3 arrows in the chasm. That one works.
Because they said a lot of people are using that one because it's quote legitimate. So
I still have not updated my game or turned. Yeah. I can't stop. I've played nothing else because I can't turn it off.
I refuse to update mine too.
Oh boy, you guys can update now. There's a dupe glitch that works.
I don't know where that chasm is. I'm not doing that.
Did you say chasm?
He did. I don't know why. I'm glad somebody called him out on that.
Oh boy. Anyway, what about you guys?
Steven, what you been up to?
Well, I've played some Street Fighter 6 World Tour as well. I installed it last week.
Oh, finally.
I've played some online games. I've realized that I don't want to play anybody who picks Zangief anymore. So okay. But I am enjoying it. There's still a lot of options in there. Remains to be seen, especially hearing people's kind of tier lists of who's going to get buffed, who's going to get nerfed in their first official update when they roll that out.
If they end up nerfing Zangief, our friend Michael is going to cry.
Now, on the polar opposite of things, I got selected for the Mortal Kombat 1 stress test.
Ooh.
which allows you to play like a quick 5 stage tower or play online.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like 11 got really busy, and they basically have now simplified everything to just being combos and basically, I wouldn't say tag, but almost tag moves,
Right.
because it's an essential part of the game. But it not being able to do all these weird throws all the times or all these X-rays. There's no background moves anymore where you can't pull an axe out of the background or something like that. Um, and the game's gorgeous. It runs at such a crisp resolution that I was just like, this is going to be good. If it wasn't for the fact that I know every Mortal Kombat game has a Ultimate Edition nowadays, I was almost thinking of picking it up because I was like, it looks and plays that damn good.
Yeah, I think with some of the fighting games, like I had to make that choice with Street Fighter 6 also. I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get it to play it. And whatever DLC and stuff comes out, we'll go along with. And then if they come out with a final version of it, I will pick that up as well to kind of complete it and hold on to it.
Because the fatalities were easy to do. Everything was slowed down where it's not as crazy. I could
Mm-hmm.
actually play this one. The moves were simpler. They didn't get too insane as well. And I swear, if they have a video that shows off some kind of their World Tour mode, it's going to be all over, and I might have to bite, but we'll see. Um, After that, like in between playing games, I've finally started watching The Boys. Thoroughly enjoying it.
So you're on the
Uh,
first season, right?
I'm on the first season.
Oh, you are in for some shit.
So yeah, I'm in for a lot of stuff. I know because I heard about that scene later on in the seasons.
Oh,
Um,
no man is happy to watch that part.
but I was just like, okay, I want to get ready. Like I watched all of Peacemaker, so now I'm watching all of The Boys and Homelander because I was like, there's that leak that he was going to be in Mortal Kombat, so I was like, I might as well get him like fully in my sights. Other than that, I've only been dabbling in Tears of the Kingdom, mainly because of the other aforementioned games, the fighting games, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. I did try the Final Fantasy 16 demo, if you can call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to warn everybody right now, it wasn't my cup of tea because it is just Final Fantasy Origins 2, Stranger's Paradise 2. It just didn't, like, I don't know. As one guy put it online, uh, I can barely call it a video game, but it is the best kaiju game I've played in a long time.
Interesting. So I'll go and go into mine because I've actually been playing Final Fantasy 16. My oldest son Jeremy got it for me as a surprise. He got me the deluxe edition for a late Father's Day gift. So the other day when it came out, I had it waiting in the game room for me. So I started playing it. And I put a good couple of hours into it. I think it says I'm like 16% through the game. I'm actually really enjoying it more than I thought I would. The story's been actually kind of fun with the back and forth with how the family is, betrayal, all that stuff. It looks good. It runs good, which I'm running it on graphical mode. I don't care if it's 30 frames. It does not bother me. I need this game to be like absolutely stunning for how it looks. And it's living up to a
So
lot of that.
I have a burning question for you. Are you
Yes.
using the active time lore?
Are you talking about like the little rings? Because I'm
It's
playing
whenever
it.
you press.
Oh,
It's whenever you press the touchpad, you can learn about what's currently going on.
I used it once when it told me about it, and I forgot it existed until you just said it again.
Okay. From my
So crap.
experience in the demo,
Uh huh.
be careful because there's no spoiler warnings. It will just tell you.
Okay. Um, I'm playing it on the story based version. I don't know if that makes any of the combat easier. I really don't care. I don't want to have any too much of a pushback. Like I want to actually finish this story because it seems interesting. But the gameplay's still been good. I like the action combat versus turn based. Like it's been more fun kind of teleporting around and setting stuff up. When you equip different armor, that doesn't seem to change the visual of it, but your weapons do change. And boy, they've got some really detailed swords. Like it's been kind of cool seeing some of that. Spells look good. Yeah, the kaiju battles are over the top, but I kind of want them to be like a kaiju battle that's just, I don't want to see two
I
characters like on
enjoyed
a Super
that.
Nintendo
It
just slapping
reminded
each
me
other.
It reminded me of like a Panzer Dragoon minigame, so it wasn't too bad there.
Well, it took me as kind of like you have the opening of the game, which has got the two fighting, and you're like, oh, this is kind of intense. And then later you get the context, you're like, oh, this is heartbreaking. Like this is really sad now. Um, so I don't know. I'm hoping I'll get more into it, but I'm really liking it, like more than I thought I even would. So
That's
hey,
good.
I'm down with that. Um, but a game that I did really like, I have finally finished the story for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and that is a tearjerker. I think I would actually say this may be now my favorite Zelda, which says a lot. Before that was Link's Awakening.
That also was very sad.
Yes, that was always one of
Which
my
which
favorites.
which version?
I originally played the Game Boy Color one is that I got the Game Boy Color enhanced version, DX version is the first one I had, so that's how I played it. I went back and played the original one. Obviously, there's not much of a difference,
Yeah,
but I
that
have
did
it.
have sad parts to it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I did like the Switch version. I thought it was a really good port. Frame issues or not, it was still really nice. But like I actually will I think this will be my favorite Zelda now, which says a lot. Like I'm 43 years old, so I've played every Zelda. There's a lot of them.
The story isn't
you've
perfect.
played Mask of Gameleon.
Every reasonable Zelda. I've played
Wand
all
of
of them.
Gameleon. Sorry, Nintendo fans. Sorry.
Oh god. Chris, what were you saying?
The story is not perfect because I do feel that some of um, the villain stuff is tacked on and doesn't quite make sense
Mhm.
from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. But the way they did it and the reasons they did it, I don't mind. It's still one of the best Zelda games I've played, so I can forgive it.
Yeah, and this just that whole I'm not going to spoil anything because it's something I think people should see. And my wife actually was hanging out with me at the time when I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to play it for a little bit. I'm going down below the castle. I'll just kind of mess around." And we were going to go watch Star Trek. And then I got further and further in and realized, "Oh, no, I think this is the end. I think we're just going to sit here and play it through." And I just played all the way to the end. Just went ahead and did it. And she's even watching it go like kind of awestruck with everything that was happening. And fun little thing, there is actually an after credit in the game. So watch the credits and then there's a whole other scene. So that's the first time I've seen that in a Zelda game that I'm really aware of. So that was nice, but definitely play it. Um Beyond that, going into some movies and stuff, I did go see The Flash. Have either of you seen that yet?
I have not.
I haven't yet. There was going to be a showing at like a drive-in. Yeah, there's still drive-ins. But I had just come back from vacation, so I skipped it.
Okay. Chris, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm not really a hero movie person these days, so
He
probably just
called it
gonna skip it.
Multiverse of Batman.
Yes,
He's not
exactly.
wrong.
That's all you're gonna get from me.
You are not wrong. I am very mixed on this movie. Like I enjoyed the story of it and this portrayal of Barry I think was better than previous ones, but I still prefer so many other versions that they've shown, including like Grant Gustin's take on the Flash. Seems as
I love
silly and
his.
goofy, but still mature for part of that and everything that's going on, but impulsive. Barry in this one is both super impulsive and annoying and grating, as well as a little bit more mature with it. Michael Keaton was fantastic. It was great seeing him come back and everything. The extra characters that came in for different stuff were I don't think they really put enough of them in there. Like they had a chance to just go all in and they just kind of put a few and it feels like they just kind of cut short on it. But in the end the film kind of feels pointless to me. Like they don't really set up a new universe like Flashpoint did. So you're just kind of left with well that was entertaining but why? You know?
Yeah,
Like
it did. Whenever I saw when James Gunn was explaining the roadmap, I was just like, it seems like you're so far along that you're just like, we might as well release it.
yeah, if they had just had little touches to whatever the future plans were at the end, I think that would have been better to build it out instead of kind of ending on a joke and an after credit scene that took me 2 days to understand what the hell had happened. It was It was just weirdly pointless. But like little things like if they'd went ahead and decided they're casting for Superman, which I know they're working on that, just a little scene of like Clark working on the farm. Don't have to make him dressed up as Superman, show the costume or anything. Just have him be there would have been kind of a nice way to aim towards that. I know they're still trying to pick their Batman, so they went with a different angle for that. It
Like
just,
some segue. Yeah.
yeah, something to bridge the gap to the new series instead of just kind of ending it weirdly. So, next up, the other thing I've watched are either of you guys Star Trek fans?
To a point.
Yes, but there's too much to watch. There's too much to watch right now, so I haven't dived in yet. So
Well, I recommend watching Star Trek Prodigy while you can because they just canceled it and they're taking it off Paramount Plus. Like they're just getting rid of it, and I'm like, what the hell?
Is it
But
going to be available anywhere else? DVD, Blu-ray?
the Blu-ray I ordered is only the first 10 episodes. The second half of the season have not been released yet for Blu-ray, but they're just wiping out the face of the earth, and everyone is not happy about it because it was really good.
They've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm not liking that trend. I'm like, seriously, everyone just start stealing your movies and shows. That's the only way you're going to get to watch them anymore.
we're gonna sell our shows to another streaming service.
Not even that. When they get rid of them, they've been using like tax breaks that Warner Brothers started off with, and other companies are copying it now. That if they just get rid of it and never air it again, they don't have to pay residuals.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers now is just selling their franchises. Like, do you want this streaming on your platform? So give us money.
Yeah, poor choice of words here, but Warner Brothers is basically imploding. So, um, but I've been watching the season premiere of Star Trek: Strange New World season 2. It's been going really well. That was one I liked. Amanda and I watched it. The other show that I've been watching is Secret Invasion, which we only had the first episode of that, which is a kind of a fun, spy mystery thing. But what I wanted to get into is the whole controversy around their opening credits are all AI generated. They did not have actual artists working on it. They just had people putting words in and just kind of generating it. And that's caused a lot of people to be pretty unhappy because that's an entire crew that could have done those credits that now is out of that work for what look like really ugly art. I wouldn't even call it art. But I wanted to get y'all's opinion on what you think of that fact that now this is a major company with a massive budget that could easily afford to pay these people during a time we're having strikes where AI is an involved part of that to block it from taking jobs. Disney just came out and did it. Do you guys want to have anything to say on that?
So it's rough because I enjoy when AI can be used in tandem to help, like kind of like machine learning, but to the next level. Like when
Right.
there's a restoration of a picture that already exists and is not taking a place or using a filter, or if there's like even a game that needs to get kind of like an HD project on it, or it gets an HD overhaul to textures, and it
Mm-hmm.
uses AI to kind of put those all in. Um, I don't know if they were trying to be cheeky with the, imposter syndrome type stuff, where because scrolls you can't tell if they're a scroll or not. So I don't know if they were trying to be cheeky here, and it just backfired spectacularly.
Well,
Chris, you got any thoughts?
it might be that, and the fact that I feel that the superhero train is slowing down, and Disney and Marvel aren't quite sure what's going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That, along with the writer's strike, they're probably just trying to cut as many corners as possible. And the excuse they came up with, where they said they wanted to use AI to make it feel as alien as possible,
There you
seems,
go.
pardon my French, like a bit of an ass pull, if you ask me.
Agreed. I mean, there's other artists like I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. I apologize, but like the old Sandman comics, the guy that used to do the cover art for that had a very similar art style, very surreal look to it. Someone like that could have done it. A person could have made it feel alien and surreal without having to cut them out and basically have a computer that probably copied that style from somebody else
That's
because
Dave
once,
McKean.
thank you,
Mm.
appreciate that, because
And
I always found this.
he already does the credits for the Sandman Netflix series, so they're not going to get him.
Of course, he knows that.
Well, I mean, in just in general for that art style, like these people are out there making this stuff. It can be done, but the AI does not create anything. I don't care what people argue or what they say. All it does is take other people's work and just reconstitute it on there. It cannot learn to make something new. It can only pull and steal. So I'm waiting for artists to find their art in these openings and find a way to sue about that because their work was taken. And that's already happened where people's art has been found in AI stuff, even to the point of like their signatures showing up, distorted in there.
Well, it's
Yeah,
already starting to backfire actually because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people using AI art that the prompts are actually pulling from existing AI art, and it's starting to become kind of recursive
It's
and
an
look
Ouroboros.
just terrible.
they still can't eat spaghetti or have 5 fingers.
Exactly. So we're already seeing that begin to backfire. Aside from all the laws people are passing, where if people find out that you've been using prompts, you're not going to get paid for the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Japan passed their law saying you can use it for fun all you want, but as soon as you try to monetize it, we're considering it copyright infringement, and you can take appropriate action on it. Which I hope eventually, like the U.S. and other places, follow suit, because it's getting to the point where people are claiming this game could be done quicker if they just used AI to do all the programming for you.
Oh yeah, that's people talking out their ass that do not understand how anything actually works. If
I
you
was
just
like, you
use
still
that, it'll be
need a
so much easier.
foundation for AI. Like even the sci-fi movies, you can't just create AI out of ether. You need a base. So, and the base half the time is either taking from Google searches or other people's artwork, as we're seeing. So,
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of AI. Yeah, I've seen some stuff that's kind of funny and hilarious. Like we talked before the show about those things where it'll, what if this looked like that style or something? Like, okay, haha, that's funny, but this is starting to dig into, and it has in other formats too, actual jobs. Is having an actual effect on the community. And one thing that got pointed out is if they start doing this, like say they start using it just to make the title sequences, well, eventually then you're going to have people that normally would have come into the business and learned from their predecessors who did the title sequences, and that's how they learned to do it and carry on and grow. They don't get that education. So now it's once again the computer just feeding in on itself, and you lose all of that learning, going on with it. So,
Yeah, like anything else, you know, it's not going to go away, but things are going to change one way or the other. And one bright spot is with all this AI art, people are learning to spot it much more.
mm-hmm.
Even if the hands are right, I'm getting better at spotting anime art that has been AI'd, and it makes you appreciate the difference that human artists can make even more. So I feel that in kind of a whiplash effect, human artists are going to be appreciated even more for their unique takes on things when AI floods the market.
I really hope so. That would be nice. But I do love the fact that it's feeding on itself and getting worse. That makes me smile.
like crypto, like crypto and Bitcoin, eventually it'll implode.
God, I hope so. Make people lose all kinds of money.
And only the good parts, at least of the AI, will remain, which are assisting you, not doing all of it.
I'm just worried about the day when the AI art just tries to come and kill us all.
Oh boy.
All right. Huh?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. Man killed by version of Picasso. Um, all right, so let's go ahead and move into our news, which this week we're only going to be talking about the recent Nintendo Direct, the one that happened on June 21st, because even with that, there was a lot. Like, oh my God, there was a lot. Um, I think, at least for me, I don't know about you guys' opinion on this, but between like Sony's presentation earlier that happened, Microsoft's presentation and some of the other companies, I think this Nintendo Direct may be one of my more exciting parts for announcements that have happened in this pseudo E3 period.
Do you know what I think helps though?
Mm,
Is there's a lot less overlap when it comes to a Nintendo Direct.
that's true. Yeah, you don't get like
And when
announcements in
and
one.
when they do show something that has overlap, they're giving us new information, which we'll cover like later on when we're going through the list. But they did some stuff that yes, we had seen before in the showcase or whatever PlayStation's thing was.
Mhm.
Um, but they gave us new information, which was very welcome.
Okay. All right. Well, starting it off, the first thing they announced was some of the Pokemon DLC. This is the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. Um, Part one, the Teal Mask, is fall 2023. That's kind of like a mask festival happening in the countryside. And then the second part is the Indigo Disc, which is winter 2023, because I noticed they're not giving exact dates or general time periods. This is like a new academy that's out in the ocean with a virtual environment that covers different areas in Pokemon. So it's like segmented out to have like snow and beaches and mountains and so forth. I Anybody else actually still playing Pokemon Violet or Scarlet?
I admit, once I found out about that stuff, I went back to Scarlet to get back into things because I have almost filled out my Pokedex, but I'm
Ooh,
not quite there yet. I
okay.
personally, this is something that I've noticed going back to Scarlet and Violet after
Uh,
playing not only Tears of the Kingdom, but Pokemon Arceus. Scarlet and Violet have the graphics are definitely inferior, and I've never really cared about that before. But knowing they can do better, that worries me.
yeah.
Because Pokemon Arceus is beautiful even now.
Now, did anybody think the trailer looked any better? Like maybe they fixed some of that stuff with the DLC, or is it just they just made a pretty trailer?
It's always hard to tell because those DLC is always, show the best of everything, and
Hmm.
then you play it, and then you see
There's the
characters
rest.
that are, you see characters that are moving in 5 frames from far away draw distance, and that happens with everything, but it does take a little bit of the magic away. So it really is going to depend on the game itself, I feel.
And that game was one of the games that, uh, if people go back to, I want to say at least 10 podcasts or something,
It's
that
been a while.
there was a rumor where that game was getting a performance patch on the next hardware. So
Boy, that
remains
was
to be
not
seen.
true.
Like remains to be seen because I don't want them to announce a new Pokemon next year unless it's for their next system.
Well, if they follow suit for what they've done prior, we'll probably get at least one more Pokemon on the Switch because they always go for the larger market that's already there. Just like when the
Oh, they
3DS
did.
came
We'll hear
out.
about that later.
Yeah, well, like when the what was it when the 3DS came out, we were still getting two of them on the DS. When the Switch came out, we were still getting 3DS games. Like they usually be like one generation behind before they make them. So we'll see. But I need to get back on there as well. I was also playing Scarlet. We'll have to co-op a little bit there. All right, next up we had Sonic Superstars. This is coming fall 2023. It's a new 2D title with up to 4-player local co-op where you can play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and apparently with some controversy, as you guys said, Rose. Uh
Oh well, that's the other Sonic game.
No,
oh,
it's
okay.
not.
What?
It's this one.
Oh, it's this one,
That's
really?
what I thought.
This
He said
one.
Superstars. Yeah, Chris, you want to fill us in
Yes.
on this one?
So, a few friends of mine in the art Twitter community pointed me to the fact that a particular fan artist made a model of Amy Rose, which looks so similar to the Sonic Superstars Amy that they appear to have been, basically yanked, and the artist is not happy about it.
As I can imagine.
So,
I just want to know how local co-op works because they conveniently stopped the trailer as they were going around the loop to loop. So if you run too fast, does it zoom out? Does it grind everything to a halt? Like how does that work? Because I would think it would be chaotic if you had 4 people trying to go fast.
That and does everybody have one life?
Oh, good point.
Like, or rather, a
As long as one
group
person
life
gets one
system?
ring, or they'll all live.
That's the thing. Like, is there like a group life system? Does everybody have a pool of 10 lives or something like that? That's
Um,
it's
Because
what if
New
you
Super
run off
Mario
the
Brothers
screen?
in a bubble.
Oh,
yeah,
that
that's
there is that. That's
I'm
true.
worried about that because like if you've got one character that's constantly going faster, are you just going to bubble the other people and drag them along against their will? Like, how much fun is that actually? For everyone else if you're stuck like it. So I agree that is kind of a weird one. They just kind of stopped and ran off with the trailer. Don't look at this.
I mean, it looks interesting. I'll probably end up. I might not get it immediately, but it does look interesting.
Yeah, I didn't pick up the last Sonic game either. Um, I heard mixed things about it. It looked kind of cool, but I had so many other things to play. It just kind of fell off my radar.
Frontier?
Frontier, yeah, I still don't even know if I'm going to end up getting it. Um, if I did, I was probably to get it like on Xbox or PlayStation. The Switch version technically looked kind of neat that they actually got it running, but it was like rough, like really rough looking. So, all right. Following that, we had Palia. This is coming out holiday of 2023. They kind of describe it as a single, but also a multiplayer title. It's almost MMO ish. It's a free to
Cozy.
play. It's a what?
Cozy.
It's a cozy game. It's a free to play title. I like the art style of it, but I don't know like how involved this is. But it's free to play, so I'm probably gonna try it out this year. We'll see. Worst thing I can do is hate it and just delete it. So who knows? Maybe we'll all be on Palia doing podcasts together.
I
Being
kind of doubt
cozy.
it, but you guys have fun.
Chris is like, I'm out. I'm done. Just wipe my hands.
Chris, you're contracted to be cozy.
Right.
No, thank you.
But Chris, there might be fishing. He's like,
Unless I can eat the fish personally, no.
Seafood's really good. Actually, a fish would be good right now. All right. After that, we had kind of an update. This was a previously announced title, but now we're getting confirmation on the Switch. Persona 5 Tactica coming November 17th of this year. We talked about this a little bit beforehand. It's a Persona 5 based kind of chibi art style tactical game where they find themselves in another world with a different group having a revolution. The mechanics look fun, but I've kind of pulled back from some tactical games or just playing as many, so I don't know if I'm going to get this. I can guarantee
It
my son's
looks
going
a
to get
little
it.
more like some of it reminded me of either XCOM or Mario Rabbids. So hopefully it plays like that and not just grid based.
That'd be good. Mario Rabbids was surprisingly competent. Like I did not think that would work out that well on it.
Because the new footage they showed reminded me of Mario Rabbids because they were walking around and doing some like gravity based stuff. So I was like, okay.
Okay. Chris, you much for tactical games?
No, but Persona 5 is still Persona 5. I will probably either watch a Let's Play or I'll give it a try. At the very least, it'll probably be free on Game Pass, so I'll give it a shot.
Oh, there you go. All right. This next one I think was my first kind of surprise of the show that caught my attention, and it's a game called Myth Force, coming out sometime 2023. They just said it was this year. It's a first-person roguelike adventure that is made to feel like it's from a Saturday morning cartoon series with a cartoon style I absolutely love because it does remind me of the old 80s D&D cartoon series and then some of the other adventure sci-fi shows. It's 4-player drop in and drop out online co-op. So that I'm excited for. What did you guys think about this one? Because it definitely caught my attention.
For me, I'm excited, except if they're going to market it as a Saturday morning series esque art style and such, then you have to borrow from games like Awesome Knots and Spider Stars, and you have to give us a really 80s theme song. If you can give us a theme song, I'm in. If you can give me a catchy thing about Myth Force, then I'm
Okay.
all set. But if it's just pick a cell shaded character and play, then I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sold on this Saturday morning thing.
I actually feel the opposite way because
Mhm.
I felt that with Awesome Knots, the theme song was the only thing that was a throwback, and otherwise it was just another type of MOBA game. Whereas with Myth Force, I feel they're trying a little harder, and so the actual game has the
Yeah,
feel
I wasn't
Saturday
saying
morning
I
cartoon.
wasn't saying that it had to be like the game had to match the theme song, but this time it does. Awesome
Yes.
Knots was a complete disconnect from the actual game, but the intro could fit with Myth Force easily. It was so good.
Yeah, it's just especially like I was seeing some of the characters in the trailer what they were fighting against or the skeletons they were talking to, and the way that they're drawn and the way they're handling kind of a cell shaded I guess animation cell look, if that's a way to describe it, did remind me of a lot of the old Saturday morning cartoons when they'd have skeletons and things that you'd run into. What I would love to see is like if you begin and end a level, if they'd have like, a short intro and maybe if you pause it or something, give me like a little commercial break thing.
A
Like that would
title
be great.
card.
Or yeah, little
A
title
title card.
cards would be great.
I'm surprised that everybody just calls it a first person roguelike when it's like, this just reminds me of Gauntlet. It's drop in, drop out, 4 players. You
Well,
fight tons of the same enemies, and there's a shopkeeper like in Gauntlet 4 for Genesis.
well, I only called it that because during the trailer, that's how they describe it. They say it's
Yeah.
a first
And
person roguelike, and I'm like, well, okay, if they say it, I kind of have to go with it.
and then the more I watched it, I was like, this reminds me of Gauntlet 4. I was just like, that would be a nice way to be like, you want Gauntlet? There you go.
I'm
Yeah, but
good with
nobody
Gauntlet.
remembers Gauntlet, so they say roguelike instead.
Gauntlet Legends was great. I wish I could still play that online with people because like it's
No one
great to.
says Devil May Cry. They say Soulsborne. I don't know.
So, for the direct, this was the first one. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this no matter what. I hope it gets a physical release, but even just digital, I'm getting this when it comes out. Um, and I think it is on other stuff, so I may look and see this. I might go back and double dip and get this on my Steam Deck because it seems like it could be great if it's already available or at least coming soon.
It is on multiple. Yeah, I checked.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe I'll just jump the gun and get it on my Steam Deck now. So, all right. Next up, this is our first bit of not so much game information, but the Splatoon 3 Splatfest was announced. Our next one that's coming up, that's the vanilla versus strawberry versus mint chocolate chip. So it's an ice cream battle.
I'm sure the vanilla will not go through any um, rated R memes like mustard versus ketchup, mayo versus ketchup did.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't learned that lesson. I think it's, yeah, I don't know. That's,
Let's be honest, mint chocolate chip's going to take the crown. So
I think popularity vanilla might win just because of what of that. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Now I'm just like, yeah, no, I can see people doing that. Yeah, we're mature.
yeah, I was just like, I was watching it with Chris, and I was like, it's not even pure white; it's just off.
Well, they probably did that to stop all that streaming stuff happening last time, and I think they just made it worse.
I think so.
As Wario would say, good luck.
Well, if you want to get into this, the next Splatfest is going to be July 14th at 5 p.m. Pacific time to July 16th at 5 p.m. Pacific time as well. So you'll have, pretty much those 2 days from Friday night to Sunday night to play it. May the best ice cream win. Us diabetics are going to sit this one out.
No.
Well, we've been trying different like sugar-free ice creams. Some of those are really hit or miss. But then I broke down and had me some cookie dough, and I'm like, you know what? The hell with it. I need some. It was really good. Cookie dough should be on this. All right. So, did any of you guys play the Detective Pikachu game on the 3DS?
I did.
I did not.
I bought it but didn't play it, so I'm right between you two.
I have the giant amiibo, biggest amiibo they've made.
Second biggest amiibo they made. The biggest is the giant Yarn Yoshi, or the cereal box if you want to be really picky.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, the biggest hard amiibo.
All right, now we're getting into the Splatfest issues. So Detective Pikachu Returns is coming out October 6th, 2023, which from what I've seen from a lot of stuff, October is going to be like overly packed with stuff. That month is going to just be ridiculous. Um, so I looked at this. I wanted to ask you guys the animation or like the art style they used. I get that it's a sequel to the 3DS game, but it kind of feels like they stuck with the 3DS models and the way they colored it. Everything felt kind of flat. Was that just me, or did you guys? What did you guys think of it?
Um, I know it doesn't have the polish of
Mm-hmm.
like the main Pokemon team for making like Arceus, Scarlet, Violet. So I kind of know that they were just like, let's build upon the storyline and kind of just give it like a boost, like we're going to see with some of the other announcements in this, where they're just taking something existing and boosting it up.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm fine with.
However, I still like no matter what, I prefer that all the Pokemon are saying their names instead of using the Game Boy sound effects.
Oh yeah,
Like
thank God.
it's a welcome change because I've been wanting them to do that since Genius Sonority would make the Pokemon Coliseum and such and Pokemon XD, and they wouldn't say their names, and I'm like, you're on GameCube, come on.
You've got the space. Do it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Chris, any thoughts on the art style of this one? If are they kind of going far enough? Are they just bringing it over from 3DS? What are your thoughts?
Um, well, seeing as I didn't play the first one, I don't really have much of a way to gauge, but it does look interesting. For the Switch's capability, I think it's just right, honestly.
Okay. And like I said, if they're building off of their existing stuff and it's just keeping that art style for this particular game, I'm fine with that. I understand that. It just kind of feels like maybe the 3DS determined their original style for it and they're just kind of carrying it on, which could be the case. I don't know. Either way, the game looks like it'll be entertaining. I need to go back and play the first one more. So,
Keeping in line with 3DS graphics but making them sharper,
mm-hmm.
I think that works well with the Switch because I did play the Ghost Trick demo the other day, and it looks very nice. It looks like it just was meant to be.
Yeah, that was a DS title that they brought over, but like all that animation they did for that game, if they upscale it correctly, would look phenomenal.
It
Um,
looks great.
I need to try the demo. I haven't messed with it too much because I played it on 3DS, or I'm sorry, on DS. I still have it. And then the second time I played it, they actually released it on. It was one of the few games I bought for my iPad, actually, because I have the pen for my iPad. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'll put Ghost Trick on here, and it's a good fit. So I want to try the Switch one. I'm gonna get it, but it's kind of like this will be my third time going through the same story. So I don't know, like I'm not gonna get any kind of like surprises or anything new. I don't think.
Yeah, that would be a little odd. I haven't played it, so the mystery is still pretty intriguing for me. I don't know what it would be like for returning players.
And it does have some really fun twists and a good sense of humor to it. So I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Yeah. So I like the personalities. Like this was back in Capcom during their heyday of making like those goofy characters that would interact with different people you'd run into. That might be a one-off, but you get a good laugh from how they react or how they handle things. And then you can find a lot of reactions by doing stupid stuff in the game too. We're like, hey, this isn't going to win, but I'm going to try this, and they'll tend to have a reaction kind of stuck in there as a surprise. Like, hey, you kind of screwed yourself on this run, but here's what happens if you do this.
Yeah, Chris, if you like death, you'll love Ghost Trick.
You're going to die in
Goody.
some fun ways, over and over. So speaking of remakes, this is one that a lot of people, when it first started, I thought they were just going to announce some new games coming for Nintendo Switch Online because they started playing the beginning, the title screen for Super Mario RPG. The original Super Nintendo one, the music going through, and then all of a sudden it changes to show this whole new chibi maintained 3D art style and announced a whole remake of the game. So it's being remade in full 3D, but they're keeping the style set by the pre-rendered art that was very popular back then. with Mario RPG, Donkey Kong Country, and a lot of those different games. Um, the gameplay and the story looks like they're taking it directly from the original one, which is good. I don't think they really need to change too much about it.
There's a new UI. There's a new UI in battle, which looks nice.
Yeah, the mechanics still seem to be the same, which is fine. They need to be, but the UI need to be updated anyways. We're getting new CGI cutscenes that they showed off some of those, so that'll be a nice little add-on. Now, the cool thing is the music is still absolutely fantastic, but the original composer, and I really apologize, I'm going to butcher saying this because I'm bad about it. Yoko Shimomura is involved and will be rearranging her own songs. So any changes to the music, you can't be like, well, this is terrible. What would the composer think? Yeah, she did it. She's fine with it. Like it's on her. So there's not much you can really say.
3 words, everybody. Fat Yoshi HD.
Oh Lord.
Oh, I've already had a talk. Like if anything needs to become an amiibo from this game, they should just take that, slap a red base on it for the Mario series and release it and people will buy it. Just the fat Yoshi as an amiibo.
I'll go one further and say just give us Booster.
If they had to choose one, I think it would probably be like Mallow because he's like the easiest to mold and just make.
Are you kidding? Why wouldn't you do Gino then?
Well, he's detailed. I don't know. Let's just do an entire amiibo line. Let's buy them all. I'd do it.
People would die. People were willing to like die for him to be in Smash. So.
Oh yeah, I remember the reactions when they made him a Mii Fighter skin, and everyone's like, "What?"
And this is going to be a hot take.
Ooh, this would be good.
But I'm not a fan of both the US and now the remakes box art. Yes, I know it's the throwback to the Super Famicom box art, but all it is just showing you assets from the game, and that's it.
Steven,
They're
you
just
hater.
standing there lifeless.
You hater.
I was like, you can make it prettier. The game is gorgeous. Just, I don't know, make the background blue or something.
What I would like, which Square is the worst about doing this, and they're kind of involved. So I think this would be something if they imported it, like a Play Asia version, make that art like the inside artwork. Have that be the inside sleeve where you could reverse it if you really want to, and give us maybe an updated American box art for the outside or vice versa. Let people make the choice. Because they had to change it to a more vertical styling. So they cut Yoshi out. They removed him from the lineup. I'm like, come on, guys. I'd rather just go ahead and have it be sideways. Like take the Switch case and turn it on its side. That'd be great.
That would be the ultimate Super Famicom throwback.
Did either of you guys play this back on the Super Nintendo at all?
I've beaten it at least 3 times back on Super Nintendo.
Nice. Chris?
It's been a while. I played it for quite some time, but I haven't touched it in a while. I'll definitely play it again. I'm very interested to see what is going to be altered, if anything.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for the new generation, but there's at least 3 things I hope are still in there.
We'll have to talk about it after the show, just to see what's going on. All right, so after this was the first of a couple games that they gave a little bit of information for, but not much else, that are coming out next year. But the first one was the Untitled 2024 Princess Peach game. That's the best way I could put it because they didn't give it a title.
We have our Game of the Year 2024.
So this seems to be Peach based around a stage play of some sort, where she's interacting with different stage elements and so forth and doing costume changes. But, Steven, I think you pointed out a fact that I hadn't actually dawned on me. But go ahead. Or was that Chris?
Yeah,
that
she's
did
got
it?
no crown. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is or if she's younger or what's going on, but I'm excited. Please don't make it just some kind of, I don't know, stage play game where you just do proms or something. It's already got, I'm not saying the art style is, but I'm saying it's got vibes of stuff like Paper Mario. So I don't know. Stay along that.
And I mean, if they use a stage play, it could have interesting throwbacks to Mario 3 because that is all basically a stage play also. So that'd be kind of a cool way to mix that in.
But as everybody's gonna always know, I don't care what kind of game this is. I'm buying it day one. So
Yeah, my daughter won't leave me alone about it. She keeps bringing it up. When can I play it? I'm like, it's next year. You're gonna have to wait.
they only gave us a peek. We don't even know what kind of game it is really yet.
What's it called? I don't know. I can't. She expect me to just know all this stuff. Chris, do you have any interest in this one, or is it at least piqued your confusion?
Piqued your interest.
Piqued your...
I need to know more.
That's a good
You
one,
know,
Steve.
it's a very, very short, just thing. We don't know anything about gameplay. It could be anything at this point. So
Yeah,
I'm just waiting to see what it ends up being.
it's truly a teaser of nothing else. Like, so it looks good though. I do like the art style they're
Oh
going
yeah.
with.
I think the art style is pretty similar to the Mario RPG remake personally, but it does have
Not as
its
squat.
it has its charm.
I agree. All right, so next they announced Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon coming next year as well. This is a visually enhanced port from the 3DS to the Switch, which is, it's not the first time a 3DS game has come to the Switch, but it's the first time they've basically just said like, hey, we're doing these in visual enhancements and then re-releasing it. So I'm curious how that's going to translate over, because we're losing the bottom screen, which on that one I think was more of like a map and some other stuff. Like there's more buttons and functions, they can carry that over. But I'm hoping the multiplayer aspect stays somehow.
Yeah, if they can keep that, I think that's why they picked this one. Fingers crossed, is because that was like what you wanted in a multiplayer Luigi's Mansion. So
It was
having it on Switch would just be easy.
It wasn't the tower, was it? No, that was the third one.
Yeah, third one had Luigi and had the tower, but Dark Moon was just like multiple Luigis. Let's do it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Running around in there. So
yeah, causing chaos. So it's good.
Chris, you play much of the Luigi's Mansion series?
Let's see. Beat the first one. The second one I came close. The third one I own but have not finished. I do like the fact that just Luigi is given more personality this time. I think, in fact, the Superstar Saga games and Luigi's Mansion are responsible for Luigi's current personality, which is cool.
I think so too. He's actually given a chance to grow. The second one I really enjoyed. I think you'll like it with the Switch version. It seems like a pretty good port, just from general looking at it. Obviously, I don't know because I haven't played it. I don't have an uncle that works at Nintendo.
You don't?
Yeah, no. None of my family works at Nintendo. I know nothing. I'm old and know nothing. The third one, though, I'm guessing, Steven, you still have your copy as well.
Yeah.
So we actually should play that multiplayer sometime. Just like hop into some of the tower and run around, if nothing else.
Just play around with that, yeah.
Well, we're looking for multiplayer games, and that way, we're not constantly punching each other in Street Fighter. Which we still have to do Power Wash. Why have we not done Power Wash yet?
Because we've been punching the heck out of each other.
We definitely need to power wash to detox from Zangief.
You're just not letting that go, are you?
No.
Just like Zangief won't let him go.
Grabbing me. He doesn't let go either.
Just remember, if he runs at you, you can grab and throw him. There is a way to stop it.
We're not getting into this. He is evil incarnate. Okay.
Zangief. Oh, man, you were very bitter about that. This is why I shouldn't have introduced you to my to Michael, because he is kind of nefarious for fighting games. All right. Following Luigi's Mansion, we got kind of the first of a couple weird announcements. Batman Arkham Trilogy is coming out fall 2023. Sadly, I am very disappointed that we found out that only Arkham Asylum will be on the cartridge. Arkham City and Arkham Knight will be downloadable only. Which, come on, guys. Like, they keep making these collections and they're just splitting them up, and it's aggravating. I'm probably still going to end up getting it, but I might end up buying it used, because Arkham Asylum, I want to be able to play portable, but I actually can't on a Steam Deck. It doesn't work. If you try and run it, it just shuts down at the main screen. It's completely not compatible with it at the moment. But Arkham City runs great. Go ahead.
So looking up the pedigree of the port people, their
Oh
turn me
boy.
up games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you can kind of use this as your basis of how well will it run, because they even warned you on the bottom of the trailer it's not final, the
Yeah.
gameplay.
Which I think that was for Arkham Knight.
But
That's my big question.
but they got high acclaim because they did the Switch port for Borderlands that got a lot of acclaim for being well ported. They
That
also
one
did
ran
It
well.
Takes
Yeah.
Two. They did It Takes Two for Switch, and they did Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for Switch as well.
That was phenomenal. Like they did a really good job with that.
So
Um,
it's kind of like Panic Button. Use that as what their pedigree is for porting. So
yeah, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, I'm not worried about. Those have ran well since the 360 days. Like, bringing those over, I don't think is going to be a problem whatsoever. Arkham Knight is the one I'm wondering about because that was an Xbox One and PS4 title that we're just like, I don't know how that's going to run because you have the whole open city. Like, I'm just worried that resolution is going to like just tank as it's trying to keep the frame rate going or vice versa. And heaven forbid if you're shooting around in the bat tank and just launch yourself out to start flying around while there's hordes of people everywhere, my Switch is going to catch on fire. This is going to be how they get more sales for the holiday season when people have to replace the scorching husk of their Switch. Oh, um, have you guys played many of the Batman games? I know we keep asking about comic book stuff, and Chris, I know you're not big into comic book stuff.
I adored Arkham Asylum. Tremendous game, amazing, beat it. I adored Arkham City, tremendous game, beat it. Arkham Knight is a dumpster fire. So half of the game is just like, riddle me this, Batman. Can you do 3 laps with your car? And I'm like, what? So that one took me out of Gotham City and threw me somewhere else. So
it took everyone else out of Gotham City too, so that Batman could just drive everywhere.
Hit somebody with a car and it tased them. Oh, he's fine. I didn't kill anybody.
I was like, since when did this game become Twisted Metal? I don't need this. Batman doesn't kill anybody. He just explodes other cars.
There was nobody in there.
Thankfully, they had parachutes.
It's
like the old Dragon Ball Z episodes. Oh, that car exploded. Thankfully, they had a parachute. It's okay. I see them. They're landing. Like, we're on the ground.
It's more like Speed Racer. Everybody Speed Racer hit always exploded.
Right. I know it would have been tricky because it's a different developer than Rocksteady that made it, but I kind of wish if they had to take Arkham Knight out or make it its own port, to put that time and effort into it. Arkham Origins, I think, would have been a good fit for this. Because I like that.
Said, why couldn't you fit Origins in there?
I'm not even, if you're going to make it all downloadable for half the stuff anyways, you might as well have, But Arkham Origins...
they made Origins for Wii U, so it works.
And that's actually how I played it, how I preferred it, because, they were like, oh, well, if you get that version, you don't get the multiplayer. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want that multiplayer. Batman should never have a multiplayer. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, unless you can get like Robin or Nightwing in there, and even then, that's just going to be punching people. It's not that much fun. Which is how we got Gotham Knights. That's how we got Gotham Knights. Oh man! So, like I said, I was super excited for this one until I found out about the cartridge situation. Once again, I really hope the European or Asian version comes through, gives us everything on the cart. Otherwise, I'm going to pick it up pre-owned just to get that portable Arkham Asylum at least. So, all right. Next up, they talked about Gloomhaven coming September 18th, 2023. It's a turn-based card game with RPG elements based on a board game, which I have not played. 17 mercenaries and over 1,000 abilities to choose from. Are you guys familiar with this board game at all?
I'm not, but when it comes to those types of games, it just reminds me of, and showing my age here, Hero Quest. So if anybody was ever a fan of Hero Quest, Gloomhaven's probably going to be right up your alley.
Chris, any thoughts?
I'm not fond of card-based games ever since Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, but I'm sure there are people who would enjoy it.
Oh, come on. Let it rip. How do you really feel about card games?
Yes, tell us. Let us know.
What are you getting at?
I don't know. I heard a rant from somebody named Chris when I talked about like Lost Kingdoms and Biting Kaidos, and you were like, "No."
I just don't like games where you have to pick a card in order to hit somebody over the head.
I rarely enjoy those. The only ones I have liked, there's like a D&D style board game one where you have the cards you pick to do the moves that's played in like VR and stuff we talked about. I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden, but yeah, not many of those other ones I really prefer.
If you want a simple one to kind of get into that atmosphere,
Uh huh.
I played a demo for and I fully enjoyed it. Was Fight in Small Spaces. It's on
Fight in
Steam
small
and
spaces.
Switch
Okay.
because you're like a secret agent and you have to basically fight off different scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
but you can only do it using the cards you have. And
Huh.
it was very well done, and it was very well animated. It's got like a noir style, like very minimalistic, but I thoroughly enjoyed the demo.
Yeah, the one I was trying to think of was Demio, by the way. Now that you said demo, I looked it up. Yeah, it's Demio. That's the one I like. That's the only one that has
Everybody thought
cards, but even
demo
then
when
you're
they saw that
still
trailer.
yeah,
Yeah.
even you're still doing something. All right. Just Dance 2024 edition coming October 24th. Hey, guess what, everyone? It's got music in a store. If you
Hey,
like
guess what,
music,
everyone? It's probably going to be a code in the box again.
oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they've already said that, and it's Just Dance. They're doing like music releases every single day, so just buy it as a service and just
If you
understand what
want to
you're
get any
getting.
enjoyment, if you're not a Just Dance fan, look into the Just Dance lore of the characters who dance on screen. There's actually storylines,
Oh my god, really?
and they're
I
canon. Yes.
I have more Just Dance games than I probably should. I don't play them, but when I went for my Wii U collection, I had to buy all of them, and there's a lot. And I'm pretty sure I'm on a list somewhere for being a person my age buying that many Just Dance games.
That's
Let's see.
exercise.
Say what?
People at Just
It's
Dance
exercise.
ABBA call them.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had to buy 9 Just Dance games for the Wii U collection. No, never again. So many, including the Disney one. I don't know. I'll have to try. Maybe Jennifer will like it. All right. After that, they talked about a Silent Hope coming October 3rd, 2023. You play as one of 7 warriors in an action RPG where no one can talk. And the dungeons change whenever you play. So you'll go down, fight through the dungeons, come back, use your resources to build new things, expand the town, and so forth. But what do you think about this idea of no one can talk? Is that just a nice way of like not having to worry about writing speech? You just gotta let it go?
Everybody's Link. Okay.
I think it's more that the heroes can't talk, and we don't know if that's going to happen throughout the entire thing. I have a theory that once you progress further into the game, each character will have their speech unlocked, or at least a memory of
Hmm.
what they're trying to do. Because the goddess or whatever quest giver figure can speak. And of course, you need someone to narrate. Otherwise, it's going to be a very avant garde kind of game.
I will
Yeah.
say this is the first of 2 games in the direct that throw you off with its artwork, because you see artwork in the beginning of Silent Hope and you're like, is this Xenoblade with the artwork? And what kind of game is this? And then you see, oh, they shrunk. Um, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because it's made by Marvelous Entertainment. I feel that it's going to take a unique approach. So I'll bite.
Marvelous is good. They've had some fun ones I played before.
Like Exceed, as good as they are, they
Hmm.
kind of follow they're very formulaic with their releases. Marvelous, when finally it's not Story of Seasons, um, and not for the other crowd, Senran Kagura. These one-off titles like this, they have merit. Like there's really good Marvelous games out there.
Okay. As for the other character you're talking about, Chris, that's a princess that had sealed herself in her tears and can talk to the hearts of them. I was watching the trailer and I was like, oh, they're really just going in for that. So she's not technically talking, but she's speaking to their hearts.
I want
Which either
Ariel
way,
the
you can
Little
hear
Mermaid
shit.
DLC for this game.
You want what?
I want Ariel, the Little Mermaid DLC for this game. Unlock another warrior who
Can't
cannot talk.
talk. But she has legs, so she can walk around at least.
Oh, there you go.
She's not good for water levels. Um, so following that is Fae Farm. Not exactly a game that the three of us are probably too big on. I'm sure my daughter's going to be all in though. So I'll tell you about it when it's here because she will never stop talking about it. September 8th, 2023.
When you do get that game, if you own any copy of anything My Sims, put them side by side and be like, is this the same artist?
Oh, I would not be surprised. That is, God, now I'm thinking, but that is where the art style looks like. I forgot about My Sims. There were so many of those.
There was really good ones out there for My Sims for some reason. There were some really good games.
Yeah, the DS and the Wii, surprisingly, they had a lot of good ones. But yeah, it's a 4-player online or local co-op. So I'm sure we'll get her copy and then I'll be sitting on the couch playing this game with her. So I'm going to be playing this. Let's just get that out of the way. Following up with that, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged coming October 19th, 2023. 130 vehicles to choose from with a track builder, and they're doing 2-player split screen local, or you can do 12-player online racing. Which it looked really good. Like I played the last Hot Wheels Unleashed on the Series X, so of course that's the one with the ray tracing and everything else. Like it looked phenomenal. The Switch ports, from what I heard, are pretty good. But I'm kind of curious if this is going to come out on other systems. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Okay, so talking to a Forza fan, is this better than the Hot Wheels Forza expansion?
No, because it's Forza. I mean, all right. So I bought the story behind this when I bought Hot Wheels Unleashed when it came out. I was like, cool. That's like a week or two before Forza Horizon 5 comes out because I bought the collector's edition, so I got early access. I was like, oh, this will be great. I can play this until that comes out and then jump into it. I got home and found out the Xbox One version is a different disc than the Series X version. So I didn't get any of the ray tracing, all the stuff they were showing off. And I'm like, this doesn't look right. Found out there's no means to upgrade it. I had to go back to Target, return the game. They ordered my actual Series X version, and it came in the day after Forza Horizon 5 came out. And I was like, well, I'm never playing this now. Like, I got Forza. That was my entire point, and it just sat there. I think I played it twice. It looked good. It was fun to mess around with. But I have all the Hot Wheels stuff now in Forza, and I'm playing that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel this one though.
Uh-huh.
I feel this one though invokes, for at least the older crowd, the San Francisco Rush series, where it's just mayhem and lots of flying cars. So I'm all for that.
Well, one thing that I like about this more than Forza would be, especially if we get like an Xbox version or PS5, is the track editor. Being able to make those crazy Hot Wheels tracks and then race on them. That's a whole unique thing you can do. And they seem to have it set up to go through like, kids' bedrooms and basements and stuff like that, where we would have had it as a child. So, Chris, you into Hot Wheels at all?
Oh, I lost all my original Hot Wheels. I'm sure I would have been a millionaire if I kept them all. But I miss my 60s Batmobile Hot Wheels. But yeah,
like
it looks
original
fun.
60s?
I think so. But it was in very bad shape. Like bottom of the flea market box shape.
You've made him sad.
But it looks like a fun game. I usually tend to stick with Burnout stuff. But, we will see.
Okay. All right. Next up, they showed Manic Mechanics, July 13th, 2023. Basically, this just looked like an automotive take on Overcooked to me.
And I am there. I got Moving Out. I got Overcooked. I got Out of Space. I've got Shakes on a Plane. And now I've got Manic Mechanics coming.
I don't know Shakes on a Plane.
Shakes on a Plane, you are basically all stewardesses on a plane that's just going to different planets, and you're having to like deliver their drinks, take their plate when they're done, clean the cabin area. Like I was like, yeah, it's so much fun.
I have fun playing these in groups, but I hate the fact it makes me feel stressed like I'm doing actual work. Like I don't want to play a game and feel like I'm in a stressful job again. I've not played many of these in a while. We did Overcooked for a little bit. I couldn't. They never really seem to feel just right for playing them online. I'm hoping some of these are a little bit better, and we can try that. So, all right. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC, which is out now. They showed off the Last Spark Hunter, which is the second paid DLC that you have a music planet to explore. Of course, Jennifer, my daughter, just bought herself a copy of Sparks of Hope. So you can better believe I was already getting phone calls right as this was going on because she was like, "Can I get the DLC? Can I get the DLC?" I'm like, "Play the game for a little bit, then we'll see about it." Like you literally have had it 24 hours. So I'm sure I'll be buying this, so I'll let you know what it is. After that, we got Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, coming December 1st, 2023, which you capture, train, and combine monsters to fight with. But it... Oh, we're getting a disconnect from somebody there. All right, we're back again. Hopefully I didn't mess up the video. If you can't see this, we're having network issues, I guess. But yeah, Dragon Quest Monsters, they're sticking with a normal art style for it, but it's kind of... This has been an ongoing series for a while, I guess, where you can capture the monsters, train them, and combine them. We haven't gotten the last few of them.
Yeah, in Japan, they just said it's 3. So,
okay.
I think it's 3. There's a 5. I don't know.
50.
But they put the number next to it because they knew it's in the series.
Yeah, because the Monster series, like I remember these being on like Game Boy Color, like they've been around forever. But I don't know. Do you guys play any of the previous ones or any of these?
I'm like you with certain games. I bought them, but I've never played them.
Yep, we are guilty of that. Whoops.
Oops. I was like, "Oh, Dragon Quest! I need to have it. What do I do with this?"
And I eventually will have those little bursts where I'm just like, all right, cool, I finished this game. What do I want to play? And I'll start dabbling in a few I haven't messed with before, and hoping something will click. Chris, you play any of the Dragon Quest stuff much?
The last Dragon Quest game I played was 11. And then
That was a good one.
Got to the end. I found out that there was a better ending, but I would have to grind to level 99 to get it. And Dragon Quest is not Persona for me.
All right. Next up, this is the one that's, I think the next game that's coming out that I'm looking forward to. We got a bunch of information on Pikmin 4. This comes out July 21st. You play as a member of the Rescue Corps that goes to the planet to actually kind of, rescue people that are stuck. You have to repair your ship and save any castaways that you find. You have a rescue pup named Ochi, I believe is how they say it. It can be used for fighting, swimming, carrying, smashing obstacles, all kinds of stuff. It's adorable. If this does not become a plush of some sort for people to buy, there will be riots. You can train it for new skills.
Will go crazy.
Yeah, Etsy will make it. They've probably already made it. Go to Etsy now if you'd like to make it this. Right. They did show like you can find treasures, which I love the fact they had a very detailed Game Boy Advance SP, the dark blue one. Which I didn't have the dark blue one. I had different colors of that. They showed off the underground areas, which those were in some of the older games, but they seem a lot more expanded now in Pikmin 4, like their actual levels. And then I kind of have a theory, like the castaways they showed, you notice their helmets are like opaque. You can't see into them. I'm wondering if that's going to be other people that have died in that spot and they're uploaded online and you can rescue them or find them to either give them back certain stuff. Yeah, kind of Dark Souls. Like there's been other games that have done something kind of like it, either to help or to hurt. Do you guys remember Zombie U? If somebody died, if somebody died in a spot, you could run into their zombie, kill them, and get their items. Where you're not really helping the person, but you can do it.
Write messages like, "Don't open this."
Right.
Those are great too.
Yeah, I love that one. They showed off the night expeditions, which that's a first because in Pikmin 1, 2, and 3, nighttime fell, you had to get on the ship and get the heck off the planet, or else you'd have this horribly graphic scene of seeing creatures just swarm your Pikmin and start devouring them. And I was like, this is the most adorable, violent slaughter I've ever seen. But they showed off the new glow Pikmin. So we are getting a new Pikmin, which I'm wondering if we're going to get any more new ones. We've seen all the returning ones, but the glow is a new. They're only usable at night. They only show up at night. And then you have to use them to defend the something called glow luminol mounds, which I guess is the substance that they live off of that other creatures go for, using those. So, just in general, what have you guys kind of thought of this game so far? Like, are you interested or?
I've had an interest ever since they got rid of the time limit.
In Pikmin
that
2,
was something I did not enjoy in the first one, and I hope it's actually not just HD. I just hope it's going to be something where they give an option to turn that off, because once they got rid of that, it just took more of, I'm going to focus on keeping my Pikmin alive instead of, oh crap, I need to get back to the ship.
Yeah.
There's been too many games where it's always better get back to your base type stuff. So I'm a little curious about the nighttime stuff, because I was like, is that's by choice, so that means it's not timed, right?
That's true. I hadn't thought about that. Chris, any thoughts?
The underwater not underwater, the underground sections make me think of the depths from Zelda. So clearly it's already, had an influence. I wonder if there's going to be a sky section as well.
How horrifying would a Pikmin 4 level be if you were in the underground? Like, just being that tiny in that already hellish underground of Zelda. Get to the gloom and your Pikmin just start dying. Huh?
Oh boy.
Oh, we have a visitor. I
Seems
see
we have a special guest.
Cat's like, love me.
Don't you have some Pikmin to eat?
Oh god, that's the other thing I meant to bring up. Like, a house cat could be an enemy in this game, because they were showing off they were going through a human's house. Like a very clean, well-maintained house. And if you've played the previous Pikmin games, it was very much implied that it was post-apocalyptic. That like humanity had died off, and you're finding, from like a climate issue, and you're finding leftover stuff that they left behind. But now they're walking through, like they were showing a very manicured, nice yard. You're going through someone's house.
Yeah, but who leaves a Game Boy Advance SP that in that pristine condition out on the lawn?
Kids. I've actually seen that happen. Yeah, they'll survive. It's surprising. But like, do we think this could be like a prequel? Does this like, has humanity somehow built itself back up from ruin? Or they just not give a damn?
They'll have some unique way of explaining it. So I think that's what we'll love the most, is how they explain that.
What I want to know is Pikmin in the same world as Splatoon?
Well, I want to know if you're
probably in the same, it's probably the same universe as Chibi Robo, hopefully.
That's what I made a note of, and I was like, if you're going to be in the house, I would love to run into Chibi Robo. Like, size-wise, how would they be? Like, I think Chibi would actually be a little bit taller to be like, hey, he gets to look down on something instead of looking up at everything. That's a game I wish they would bring over, is Chibi Robo. I absolutely love that one. So I'm excited for Pikmin 4. They showed off some of the battles you can do where you're having to rescue people from this weird hairy looking Pikmin type dude in a suit, because he's got a leaf on his antenna, but he's got like facial hair like he's been homeless and living in the woods for however long, like a survivor. Is this some horrible body horror that if you don't get rescued in time, you slowly become a Pikmin for another guy to just use as they want? That just made Pikmin very nightmarish to me.
We will see.
An adorable version of the Fly. Grundle Pikmin. Yeah. So, along with Pikmin 4, we did get a surprise announcement of an HD port for Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2, which are available right now on the eShop. Or, if you're like me, I'm waiting, and there is a physical copy coming out that contains both games, as far as I know, on the cartridge. So help me God, they better both be on the cartridge. But thankfully, that is getting a North American release. I thought I was going to have to import it. I think these are direct HD ports, so Pikmin 1 is going to still have the timer. All those mechanics are still going to be there, but you got all of Pikmin 2. The only change they had to make is you're not going to get some of the extra marketing stuff. Like you're not going to find a Duracell battery and stuff like that because they didn't renew those deals.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of third-party Mr. Pibb stuff instead.
We got Suradel.
Suradel. Oh man, it could be just like Great Cell or something. So, but those are coming out. I think they're only like $50, which isn't horrible. I mean, it's a little bit much for two GameCube games. Huh?
Yeah, it's cheaper than the GameCube versions.
Well, this will be my third time playing these because I played them on the GameCube version, and I played them on the Wii. Now I'm playing them again on the Switch. And same thing for Pikmin 2 or Pikmin 3. I played on the Wii U and then the Switch. So, good Lord, I've played these a lot. This will be the third time for these. Yeah. So, speaking of playing things a lot, we also got the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 coming October 24th, 2023. This was announced to be coming out for PlayStation as well as later confirmed to be out for Xbox, which I'm probably going to end up getting one of those two because the games are supposed to actually be there. This one, sadly, I'm going to list off everything that's here. And just so you know, if you have the cartridge, none of this works whatsoever unless you have an internet connection. So if you have a cartridge, It's just a glorified, more complicated version of a code in a box. Because everything, be it the special edition stuff or any of the titles, even down to the NES games, have to be downloaded or have parts of it downloaded. So you get Metal Gear Solid, the PlayStation version, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, Metal Gear from the MSX, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake from the MSX, Metal Gear from the NES, Snake's Revenge from the NES, the Metal Gear Solid digital graphic novel 1 and 2. And that's a list of what you get. So it's a pretty good amount of content. But like I said, if you're going to get it on Switch, just go ahead and get it digitally. There is no reason to get a physical copy because you get nothing. Extra content includes screenplay books, master books, strategy guides for each of the titles, digital soundtrack library, which is actually kind of neat. But then the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games will be available as individual digital purchases if you want to get those in the eShop. So if you don't want to get the whole collection, like I might just get Metal Gear Solid, just the original one, because I haven't played that one in a little bit, just to try it.
Get that music.
Yeah, I don't think you get the music. I think you just get the game.
Well, I mean, like, for me, the first, other than Snake Eater, the song, the first one had some of the best music. So,
yeah, I think they had a pretty good. I don't remember who the composer was for that one, but it was.
It's just funny because you can definitely tell they didn't ask Kojima at all about this collection because they're putting 2 games he abhors on there. So,
yeah, both the NES ones he was not a fan of at all.
Yeah, the second one is not even canon; it's just a mess. But Konami's now saying it's part of the timeline, at least, just not plot wise.
Yeah. We couldn't even have those NES games on the cartridge. No, you have to download parts of those too.
But if you dissect dissect their timeline on their website, it's pretty much confirmed at this point that the second collection is at the very least going to free from PS3 finally. We'll get Metal Gear Solid 4, we will get Metal Gear Solid 5, and we will get Peace Walker.
Oh, okay. Metal Gear Solid 5 would be kind of a surprise to add on to that, but Metal Gear Solid 4, yeah, that needs to come off the PlayStation 3, and if they do that, it needs to be, like, I don't think it'll, do you think that'll be on the Switch? Like,
my thing is, because of even, like, Metal Gear Solid 5, I kind of think they're going to wait long enough that maybe we'll have our next Switch by then.
Well, remember, Metal Gear Solid 5 was also on the 360 and the PS3. It wasn't just, at least that did have that generation that it would kind of carry over, unlike Arkham Knight, which was just Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
I
Fun fact though, this Master Collection is not on PS4 or Xbox One. So
yeah,
yikes.
it's PS5 and Series X and S only, surprisingly. I kind of figured it would have been just like a normal PS4 and Xbox One release that was backwards compatible,
Yeah,
That
that's
way
what
you
I thought,
could
but they're like,
widen the
nope.
market. Who knows? All right, next up, we're going to be going into a previous drug addiction of mine, basically. Vampire Survivors coming out August 27th, 2023, with a very confusing thing. Like, if you've played this before, and I played it on Steam Deck, like played the heck out of it on Steam Deck, and this game on some runs will bring my Steam Deck to a crawl. Like I'm in single digit frame rate. And somehow the Switch version can have 4-player local co-op, and I'm like, what is going to happen with all of that going on? Like, I wonder if they're going to make you stick to the 30-minute timeline for that mode.
So for the other folks out there who know that you cannot transfer your save, at least right now, and they do not want to triple or double dip, there will be an update to the other systems on the same day.
Uh-huh.
So the systems will also get 4-player co-op, local,
Ooh,
of course.
Really? I was not
don't
aware
know
of
about
that.
online because that would just make things a lot messier. But they're all getting couch co-op updates. So
That's still 4 playable characters with stackable power-ups. I have no idea what the frame rate is going to be for that.
Oh, my poor Steam Deck. Oh, man. Because I thought that game looked so bad. And then I was like, all right, fine, I'll get it and I'll try it. And it finally clicked. And I played it for months. Like I got a Steam Deck, and that's all I played.
There's a new update right now, so I need to play it tomorrow.
Oh, God, I'm going to charge my Steam Deck now to play this. You're killing me, man. I'm trying to play more Zelda. My biggest thing is I need to get to the point where I finally update Zelda so I can play all the other Switch games I've gotten recently. Because I can't take Zelda out because I can't update it because I need to keep messing with it.
But you can go to the options and just turn automatic updates off, and then
it's
you're
too
fine.
late. It's already on there. It downloaded
Oh
it
yeah, no,
automatically.
you said yours is already on
Yep.
there.
So I have not turned off Zelda or my Switch or backed out and played anything else since it came out. So it's been a while. All right. So the next thing they showed, this kind of caught my interest because it's one of those games that looks absolutely ridiculous, but I want to try it. It's called Headbangers Rhythm Royale, coming October 31st, 2023. So this will be a nice Halloween party game for people. You play as pigeons, which I like the fact they showed a realistic render of a pigeon. And I was like, is that what you're going to be? And then it just kind of scrolls down and it's this very cartoon look, almost claymation looking pigeon, which I'm like, okay, that's better. God, you went with a joke. Up to 30 players can play online in a series of rhythm challenges with over 20 minigames included. I don't know if I'm going to have that many people I actually know to join in with, but
Rhythm online lag. Uh-oh.
Oh, man. I can only imagine. You better have a good connection.
Yeah, rhythm online lag, Switch online. If this was on anything else, if this was on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, I'd be like, they could probably do it. For the Switch, oh, that is very hit or miss. Like, is this going to be a Smash Brothers
it's Team 17,
or a Mario
though.
Kart?
Maybe they'll surprise us.
Team 17 is not always a miracle worker. Like, you're dealing with Nintendo's online structure. You're already behind. If the next Switch, if it has no graphical update whatsoever, but they fix their internet to run at least like PlayStation and Xbox, that'll be a whole next generation console right there, and I won't even argue. I'd be like, oh, the games run and look exactly the same, but their online works? I'm in.
If the next system just doesn't have codes in a box or always has everything on cart. That's next gen Nintendo for me.
You still get drift? Well, the online works, whatever. At least I'm correctly drifting off to the side. You don't see me just like hopping around as the lag hits. So, is anyone else actually going to try this Headbangers game? Or is this just a kind of an oddity?
I'm gonna get it, but knowing Team 17, it's gonna be produced in enough quantities that I can probably get it on sale. So I'll get it, but October's busy.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
October is insane this year. So, this is another of the big surprises from like third party publishers that, or developers that I was not aware of that I was kind of interested in. Penny's Big Breakaway. This is early 2024. This is a 3D platformer from the makers of Sonic Mania, which as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, this has a pedigree. I think that's one of you guys said that earlier. Um, I love the art style of it. And then even on top of its actual platforming stuff, it's going to have a time attack mode where you can go through and earn bonuses. So as you get better at levels, you can replay them to try and get new things.
Yeah,
What
it
did you guys
reminds
think
me
about?
of just like a random Saturn game coming out that catches everybody's interest. And
Hadn't thought about Saturn.
whether
Uh-huh.
I'm saying his name correct or incorrectly, T Lopes or T Lopez is doing the music for it. So it's got
Really?
even double the Sonic Mania pedigree. So
Ooh.
Yeah, it puts me in mind of the first Sonic Adventure games, and I think that's deliberate. So,
it reminds me of Billy Hatcher myself.
oh, that too, that too.
Yeah, okay. I hadn't actually thought about Billy Hatcher. That's a good one. I do see the Sonic Adventure now that you mention it, though, Chris. I definitely see that inspiration.
Running away at the speed of sound.
You know what? That game looks kind of jank now, but it was so much fun. It's still fun to play for me. Like I like
Oh,
its art, its
absolutely.
style. I'm still. I remember the first day I saw when you're running across the dock and the killer whale is tearing through it, and I was just like, "This is the future. Like this is why I must have a Dreamcast." Oh, that was such a good system. All right. So we got an update on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Boost Course Pass Wave 5. It's coming summer 2023. We don't have a set date, and I almost kind of expected him to say, like, hey, it's available today or something. But it's surprising that I don't know if they're doing more work on it. But in exchange for that, we actually have a new course coming, which is called Squeaky Clean Sprint, which seems like you're racing around a giant bathroom. You're diving into a tub that's got like toys and stuff in it. You're going around the sink and around the floor and everything. Which it's not the first Mario Kart track where you're like tiny in a giant room. I remember there's the one where you're going through like the kids' toys on the ribbon. That was a Game Boy Advance level that got brought over. I'm trying to remember if there's any other ones. But we're also getting 3 new characters. We're getting Wiggler from Mario Kart 7, which means yes, you can be Wiggler riding on the Wiggler cart. So there you go. Kamek from Mario Kart Tour, and Petey Piranha from Mario Kart Double Dash is coming back. So,
Fun fact: I
mhm.
found out two things.
Oh,
The trailer called him Kamek instead of Kamek.
really?
So I
Well,
don't know
they're
how
wrong.
you pronounce it.
I'm just gonna
And
keep saying Kamek.
he was originally in the code, and he was removed from Mario Kart 7. So people like wanted Kamek back. So they're happy to see him like from tour into a full-fledged console game.
I mean, it's not the biggest change of which character you have, but like the selection's just good to have. Like the more characters, the better, just so you can customize it, even if it's still sticking with the traditional classes. So
I feel like this game's going to get re-released right at the end of the lifespan, and they're just going to call it Mario Kart Ultimate.
That could happen. Be careful; they'll hear you.
I
That's
want them
okay.
to.
I don't need a 9. I really don't.
I would be happy if they, when all of this was done, if they released it on whatever the follow up for the Switch is, like as a launch title that had all this DLC included on the actual cartridge or whatever medium they use. God, it better be cartridges being backward compatible. Um, to keep all of that, because I was worried when Mario Kart 8 came out and all the DLC that we would lose all that once it shut down, and then we got to have it again when Deluxe came out. I was super happy about that. So We need to play Mario Kart also. I think the three of us would probably yell at each other a lot.
There's no Zangief, so I'm all for it.
Oh Lord.
I think you can customize a Mii. We'll have to see what we can do to get a Zangief in there.
The only cart that can pile drive.
It's the truest Russian form of rubber banding. Catches up to you and just throws you. All right. So we have another port that's coming out, Star Ocean: The Second Story R, coming November 2nd, 2023. This is a remaster of the second game, but it has a combination of 2D and 3D HD graphical overhaul. It's like 3D, fairly detailed environments with really crisp 2D sprite work characters and enemies. I kind of like
It's
how it
known as
looks.
the best one in the series too.
Really? Okay.
What number is it?
It's it's
Is
supposed to be the
it?
second
Okay.
game, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and almost everybody who's seen it is just like, "Oh, this is the best one."
Oh,
Oh, okay.
all right. I've never played the Star Ocean games, so I'm gonna have to ask some of my much more
I
RPG
played the
friends.
original for PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of veered off by the fact that you had to craft all your items. So like you had to craft potions to heal and stuff like that. So it in the slew of PlayStation 1 games I had, I was just like, I don't have time for this.
Well, remember, my roommate at the time was the PlayStation person. I was the N64 person, so I didn't know what an RPG was. Beyond like Paper Mario. Had a lot of really good racing and platformers, though. At least I had that. Chris, you play any of the Star Ocean games?
I have not, which is why I was so confused. I
Hmm.
was never sure which one was which. This may be the one that I start with, so we will see.
Did they port the first one? Or is
I
they just
haven't
jumping
the
straight to the
slightest
It's
second?
clue.
on. I believe it might be either coming or it's on the PlayStation Premium Essentials.
Oh, okay.
I think. Don't quote me on it. I think it might be coming soon.
I just didn't know, like, did it come out to the Switch and I just completely missed it, or or whatever. So, all right.
Nope, I think this is the first one on Switch.
So this next game is one that I'm so happy to see, because this series, every time a new one comes out for a particular set of hardware, they go absolutely crazy doing whatever stupid thing they can think of with that hardware. I think this series uses particular hardware better than I think almost any of them. And we're getting WarioWare Move It, November 3rd, 2023. You're going to be using two Joy-Cons to play. So they are using split Joy-Cons. So you Nintendo Switch Lite people, guess what? You're buying Joy-Cons. Um, it's got two-player story co-op, so you can play, or they have a four-player party mode with over 200 micro games to choose from. I hope they bring in like new weird toys and devices or ways to just mess with the controller. I could see them doing like stupid mini games that just mess with the HD rumble again. Maybe having you put stuff in a cup and just shake the cup and feel whatever weird, stupid stuff you put in it. Something like that I could see them doing. Um,
There was a lot of functionality that was shown off when the Switch was first introduced that
mhm.
never ended up being used. And I think that's 1-2 Switch's fault. That thing pratfalled on its face so hard that everybody looked at all those gimmicks and said, "No, no, it's just a controller."
I I loved playing that game because we would have people together. Like the band, the high school band that I would work with, we'd have some of the days I'd bring the Switch up there, and some of the kids would get together, and it was hugely popular when they were just messing around with it. Like when people were just in a little party group playing it, it was great, but it was completely useless by yourself. It like never made any sense, and I think that's part of why it kind of failed. The interface was kind of weird, and the way you would unlock games was kind of weird. I think that's part of
Yeah,
its
and
detriment.
I think they didn't have enough updates in there that some of the games just didn't work. Like I could never do the shaving one correctly.
Yeah, it needed some more time in the oven, I guess the best way to put it. But as my son put it, the sequel that's coming out, it better have a milking game, or it's not going to be a real Switch title.
This one you can have 100 people milk at once.
Lovely.
Everybody 1-2 switch.
Everybody milking. That's what we just call it. That's the
You
Wisconsin
guys can
version.
tell me how it is.
Nintendo's literally milking 1-2 switch. Okay.
Oh my god. There's the joke. All right. So WarioWare, I'm excited for. I remember this one back on the Game Boy Advance when it first came out. I got it on the GameCube, playing with that. You know, the Wii version I thought was one of the more creative ones because they really did have fun with that Wii remote. The Wii U
This is
one,
the sequel.
yeah. Well, this is
one
sequel to the
this one
Wii
in
U
Japan.
version.
Yeah, this one in Japan. They're calling it it's the sequel to Smooth Moves, so it's Super Smooth Moves.
Nice.
That's why it looks so similar too.
Yeah. And I liked the Wii U one. Once again, they got a hold of the hardware and had fun with it in some ridiculous ways. So as long as they're carrying on with that, like the DS, the 3DS, every system it's been on, they've gotten creative, and I'm here for that insanity. After that, they talked about the Nintendo Live Seattle 2023 stuff, which, unless you live in Seattle, you're not going to this. So whatever, it's going to happen. I don't think the three of us are going to be going there. Sorry, guys, I can't afford flights.
I didn't get in.
Yeah, I don't even live anywhere near there. I don't even know if you guys live anywhere near there.
I don't. I put in for Friday, and they said you didn't get in, and I was like, okay.
Would you actually been able to go if you'd gotten in?
No.
Okay, I was like, you okay?
It's just nice to be nominated.
The most sudden and unplanned trip ever.
Yeah,
I just wanted the email so I could collect it. Okay.
Yeah, I've all of a sudden I get 3 tickets. I'm just like, hey guys, y'all need to fly somewhere, and I'll be like, no, we're not doing that. You better be buying these tickets and our jobs. We're not doing it. All right, so I kind of called this beforehand, and I was pretty sure this would happen. We did not get DLC that was announced, but we did get 2 new amiibos announced for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which everybody knew about. I mean, I didn't really call it. They had already kind of hacked into the game and found like, hey, here's information for 2 more amiibos, and they figured it would be Zelda and Ganondorf, which is exactly what they are. You've got
when you scan Ganondorf, you better just get big hunks of hearty steak.
It's just a bunch of raw meat. That's all he is to everybody. It's just a hunk of meat.
Oh Lord.
God.
People kept saying, "Oh, great DLC!" Like, guys, it just came out last month. Hold your opponents.
It didn't take.
There's some people out there who beat it already, so they're like, I want DLC. There's probably somebody who wants a DLC for his world tour now that it's over.
Well, we are getting that.
Oh, I'm sure with Capcom, that's going to happen. No, even with Zelda, like I finished the story and I played it. I was over 145 hours of playtime. I'm still not anywhere near finished with all the side stuff. Like there's I found an entire 3-level maze that I had not even been to this entire time yesterday. I was just like, holy crap, there's like another one, Oh, wow. All right. So we'll get those holiday of this year. Now, for the last game that they announced, this has to be the trippiest one I've seen in a while. So we got Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is coming October 20th, 2023. So I know that's a very busy month, but I have a feeling this thing is going to dominate in sales just out of pure confusion.
It's also, do you want that or do you want Spider-Man 2?
Oh, don't make me choose. That's just not fair. I really do want Spider-Man 2, but I also really want to play this. Watching this, I think this is probably the trailer I've gone back and watched the most. Like I went through, watched it at like quarter speed, was like taking screenshots and cutting out parts to look at stuff for like little animation touches and artwork differences. And
music.
Yeah, the music was great. Not at a quarter speed. It sounded horrible. Everything sounded horrible at that speed. But I'm loving the fact that, especially in this direct, we're seeing that Nintendo is getting away from being locked down from the on-model version of Mario, if that makes sense. Like
he's got life now.
Yeah, he has variants. We have the little chibi squat Mario that showed up in Super Mario RPG. We've got this very animated, like, I don't even know how to describe this art style, but I noticed the touches where there's a lot of, I hear it in cartoon animation for like squash and stretch and squash, for movement. And then like when he's running, you see multiple feet underneath because they're blurring the details. Um, like when you first saw this game, what did you guys think of it?
I started thinking right away like the personality was matching something like Rayman Legends. Not the same art style, but the same personality where everybody was so expressive.
Okay.
Like you're used to Rayman just smiling and screaming when he gets hit or something, but now everything they do has some kind of expression, and he's not just going through a pipe. He's going too fast, and he has to grab his hat, and I don't know. It just seems like, hey, we're moving on into something new because we've kept reinventing Kirby. We've reinvented um, Yoshi. What can we do with Super Mario Brothers? And this was perfect. So now we finally have a different art style for a strictly Mario Brothers game.
There's two things that I notice about this so far.
Okay.
One has been brought up on Twitter quite often, and that's the Mario especially, you can tell, but Yoshi as well. They're making Mario look the way he does in the classic art. Like if you look at Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World,
Mm-hmm.
that's how they're trying to make Mario look, just in a 3D manner.
Like from the
So he's
booklets.
kind of like a pop-up cartoon,
Right.
which is great. And this is just a personal theory. I wonder if this is a true reboot, just like they did, New Super Mario Brothers. They're calling it Super Mario Wonder.
Oh
So we'll
God.
see.
I hadn't gone to that reach yet. That's now I wonder.
Does that mean they does that mean Mario took down the time girl and then they reset and now it's a peaceful land?
This isn't Mortal
Oh
Kombat.
boy.
Oh wow.
Yes, they took down Wart, and now there's a new peaceful world.
Well, there's a lot of other little subtle changes, which looks like Steven, you just added one I hadn't even thought about. So apparently, as you noted, they got rid of the time limit. There doesn't seem to be one actually showing up there, so you get more exploration. I had noticed that they got rid of the points system. You no longer see, like if you hit a turtle shell and go through a bunch of stuff or stomp on a whole line of them, you don't get that, 100, 200 all the way to a one up. It goes through a series of things that it says. And I forgot to note them on here. I noted it on a tweet that I'd sent out. I was talking about it for a bit, but it goes all the way up. I think you start at good and it goes all the way up to wonderful. I think is the final one that you get, which I guess would be a one up if they had lives, but I don't see lives either. Like I didn't see any one ups or anything. All I saw was a couple different power ups. We see the normal mushroom. We see the fire flower show up, especially with Peach using it. She's in the red and white dress. We see him turn into an elephant. That's a whole new one with like an apple you find, which I don't think that's going to be the only animal you can turn into. I think there's going to be
Yeah,
other
but it's the
ones.
only one we saw, and that's what the internet ran with.
Oh, and they have. Oh my God. So much. Uh,
Please
um,
have Toad turn into a toad, and I will pre-order 2 copies.
It's not just a suit anymore. Now it's Animorphs Mario.
oh, I've already seen the Animorphs joke. That was great. Um, so the big draw of this game, like it already looks really good going through, but then you find what I think is called a wonder flower. I have not gotten confirmation of that, but I know later it's a wonder seed that you find, so I'm calling it a wonder flower. But when you get this, everything goes weird. Like you get this visual effect that spreads out from that point. And anytime you're watching the video, you can look in the corners of the screen. And if it's kind of got this wiggly effect to it, you're in the effect of this wonder flower. And all the rules change. You can look different. You have different mechanics that happen. Um, like the first time they show it, all the pipes come alive. They get eyes and they're jumping up and down. And then one that's laying horizontally starts inching like a worm, which was great.
Yeah, the
And
first
then,
thing I thought of was Yoshi's Island,
uh-huh.
lick fuzzy, get dizzy.
Right. That was a lot of the stuff in there as well. Now, um, let's see. Hold on just a second here, guys.
I don't
Okay.
think
So,
that's going to happen throughout the whole thing, but whatever.
yeah. So you probably noticed the word edit right there. I had to pause it for a second. My daughter decided to just jump in here, which was kind of surprising. So continuing on wherever I happen to be, we were also talking about the talking flowers that show up in the game. That's kind of a weird little side piece. I don't think they're going to be talking constantly, but I think they're going to be part of the story.
And I think they're there for humor too, because there's two parts that made me laugh. One, when one of his transformations was a big spiked ball, and they're all like, roll, roll, roll.
Cheering you on.
And then the other ones where he was like, what a serene Goomba. And then Elephant Mario just kicks him off the screen. He's just like, so much for that.
Oh, well. Like, dang. Um, so anyways, we're talking about the Wonder Flower. That's what it was, changing all the different levels and things. They show one where it's like a black and white version, but as Mario stretches up vertically, the trees stretch up vertically, and so does the Goomba. And this is going to get trippy. Like, I don't know what all they're changing with that. Gameplay takes place in the foreground and the background. So there's parts where you're going to be going back and forth. So it's not just an empty background slate, but what you see can also be part of the level, which I liked that kind of mechanic. They did something like that on, all the way back on the Virtual Boy. They did it on the 3DS a few times and a couple other games. Like, playing with depth is a good thing, I believe. But of course, once you get through these sections, you get that Wonder Seed that seems to end that mode and bring you back to the real world. So I guess we're going to get multiple of these per stage, because it looks like you can get a couple of them per there as Luigi was running around the map. Like I said, 4-player, you can be Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and Daisy, and possibly also be a collection of different Yoshis. I need to go back and look at the trailer to see if that was something with a Wonder
There was a
Flower.
stage where 4 Yoshis were dodging stuff as well.
Right. I meant to look and see if the Wonder Flower was active, because I don't know if that's a transformation that you just go through and it's like you're dealing with that, or if you actually get to choose Yoshis. Like, they could have any number of characters.
I don't, that's the one transformation I don't think I'm ready for. I'm not ready for Mario to turn into Yoshi.
Yeah, now you get to live your own hell.
Because all that reminds me of is that movie Sword in the Stone. It's like, sorry, I'm not a squirrel, I'm a human. It's like, no, it's sad.
I love that movie. Such a beautifully animated one.
Well, this is the thing. There's so many questions that will not be answered until much later.
And this comes out in October. Like, we knew nothing about this just a few months ago. We're looking at what, June?
How refreshing it is to not have a leak.
Yeah, 4 months. Okay, we're going to have this game in just about 4 months, that's still feels like forever, but it's only 4 months. But we had no idea this existed. Like, shocking, I guess. So I also don't know, there was a worm guy that kind of popped out by Mario's head when he finished one of the levels, after they all jumped onto the flagpole, and eventually goes through with that kind of cool visual effect as the house gets built. Also, did you notice the people seem to have flower buds for heads instead of toadstools? And the building
Maybe
looked
it's a
like that?
neighboring kingdom or something. They've done it before with beans.
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering.
Speaking
but whenever
of lives, though, wasn't there another? Was it New Super Mario Brothers 2? Wasn't there another Mario game that didn't have lives, just took away your money?
Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey did that. It's kind of become just a useless mechanic, because you get so many lives, or people find ways to do it and just build them up, and it was kind of a comfort, like, oh, I got these extra lives, but how many did you actually use? I'd rather, oops, I died, put me back a little bit, and then go, instead of punishing to make him do all the way through every time. Maybe
Yeah.
it can be an option on a harder mode or something. I don't know. I'm getting old. I don't have that much time to keep redoing things. But I think this is the first 2D Mario I've been really excited for when seeing, because the new Super Mario Brothers series, they're fun. I do really enjoy them, but it was getting old. Like we played so
How
many of
ironic.
them, they felt so generic at a point. What would
They
you say,
weren't
Chris?
new anymore.
Yeah, it's very ironically named.
I think once it became a palette choice or style choice in Mario Maker 2, I was like, okay, it's old.
I did see, and I love this and see what you guys' comments are. I saw people trying to post like, "Oh, this looks like it could just be made in Mario Maker. Like it's so generic." And I'm like, "Are you not paying attention to any of this?"
Sometimes that's how people judge things.
I don't know. I'm curious. Very curious to see what the rest of the art style is, because, like, you know, like you were talking about before, Chris, this is all based. Looks like it's based off of the instruction booklet artwork that they
Yeah,
used,
and the marketing artwork.
but the animation, kind of with the motion of it, felt almost stop motion to me. Little bits of it for how he reacted, not all of it, but and it may also just be the transformation when he goes from little to big Mario. They're using more of a stopgap animation style instead of smoothly transitioning. If you get a
Hmm.
chance to go back and look at the trailer, I'd be really curious to get your opinion on that.
I'll be watching another reaction one, so I'll let you know.
Okay. Because I know I went back and studied how he changed into the elephant form, and that was very much reminded me of like the old Looney Tunes transformations or changes, where it kind of like it starts at the feet and then kind of like bounces out and then comes back in and converts them, where it's got that fluid motion to it. So I almost wonder if they're mixing animation styles for different things.
Could be. Could be.
That'd be neat. Like let you choose these differences would be kind of a fun little bit, but I gotta say, this is probably one of the best looking Mario games I've seen, for 2D. So, all right. Well, that is it for the actual Nintendo Direct. Good Lord, we had a lot of stuff to go through. But we are going to finish off with our big question for this week. And kind of fitting for this, since we're seeing with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, a 3DS game upscaled and brought over to the Switch for a second chance at life. What I wanted to ask for the big question this week, now that Nintendo has signaled an interest to port 3DS games to Switch, are there any particular titles you would want to see come out for the Switch as the system winds down? Basically, like end of life, we're going to port some stuff to fill in the gap. Um, who would like to go first on this?
I'll go.
Okay, Steven, go for it.
So they first teased me when they did it to Miitopia because I loved Tomodachi Life and I loved Miitopia just as much. So when they
Mhm.
first did that, I was just like, why isn't this a thing? And they took a break for a while. So once I saw Luigi's Mansion, I was like, all right, if we're doing that, um, and we're doing Pikmin 1 and 2, let's start fleshing out franchises.
Mhm.
Let's be Bravely Default and Bravely Second because we have Bravely Default 2 on Switch, but no 1. So it's kind of just like sitting by itself on the Switch. It looks weird. Um, the biggest one, especially since right now he's just resting his hands because the guy was a workhorse, is Kid Icarus Uprising. Just call up Sakurai and be like, "Do you want to add anything to it?" Because otherwise, we're just going to give it a fresh coat of paint. The game begs for it. Has amazing cutscenes, voice acting. Everything's just top notch because it's the Sakurai touch.
Yeah, it had so much
Um,
life to it with that.
Ever Oasis, I think, especially with something like the Marvelous game we just talked about, is kind of similar in art style, but it's just like you can never have enough RPGs. If you just have an RPG system, it's not a bad thing. It's a nice niche to have
Mhm.
or a nice niche to have. And then my last two are kind of like my personal. I always went back to play them over and over and over and over and over again. One of them was NES Remix because it takes 9 volt from WarioWare and turns it on its head and says like, "What if all these weird things were happening to your games? What if every NES game was Super Mario Wonder?" Um, so it was just so much fun to do games like that. So I would love for them to expand on that. Maybe just a Super Nintendo remix or something like that. We have enough games out there. So it's just something to think about if they never ever needed to like fill their release date calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But lastly, and this does not have to be physical, but if it was, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. It's already been re-released on Apple Arcade, but Pocket Card Jockey is so awesome because it's just horse racing solitaire. but but it's
Never played
Game
it.
Freak. But it's a Game Freak made it, so it's got that pedigree
Mm.
of art style and polish, and it's just I love it. It's one of my favorites.
All right. Chris, you want to go next with yours?
Sure. Mine is probably a little less likely because Nintendo doesn't tend to like retreads very much unless they can either do quality of life or completely remake stuff, as we've seen with Mario RPG. But I would like a Mario and Luigi collection of the old Alpha Dream games because they do not deserve to just go silently into the night.
Right.
Uh, I would also love Super Megami Tensei, Shin Megami Tensei 4, and Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse to come back because those two were great games and they really showcased what the 3DS could do in terms of 3D and 2D pixel art. And it
Yeah.
was just a really fun and fascinating series.
Those were actually
Um,
some of the games my son chose as well, just so you know.
well, there you go.
He has taste.
uh, I also would like to see Super Mario 3D Land because even without the gimmick, I feel it was a fun pick up and play game.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda Link Between Worlds was a phenomenal spiritual sequel to Link to the Past. And again, it does not deserve to be just brushed aside. And lastly, and this is just personal, I want WarioWare Touched and Twisted to come back because every Wario game needs to be on the Switch.
Yes. Every Wario game that can be played on there should be played on there.
So that's
All
all
right.
mine.
So I'm kind of glad. Like I think a lot of us agree on a lot of these games, but we all have our particulars, and I'm not even really seeing any crossover, which is nice. Like we all have our favorites. So the ones that I went to, I looked at it and I tried to see which games, like if I had to pick, which ones would have to be brought over that didn't get the attention they deserved. And I started off with Codename Steam.
I
Uh,
was shocked.
it was such a fun game, such a weird take on strategy, being able to run around, and you got Steampunk Lincoln. Come on, and but it just bombed. Nobody bought it. It went really poorly for a lot of that, but I think it would get a good second chance as just a port over if you just upscaled it to bring it over to the Switch. Um, the next one, of course, this is both my daughter that she'd enjoy. Plus, I would like was Kirby Planet Robobot. Just being able to get that big mech scoot and punch your way through, and just the complexity of all those levels. I think it would be good to kind of bring it back. I know we've gotten a lot of Kirby on the Switch. Like it's been so many releases and things for it. And then, of course, when this first came up, we were talking about it over on Twitter. I had mentioned Metroid Samus Returns deserves to be brought over for
I'd
a
be a
second
nice
chance.
I'd be a nice stopgap before 4 it comes out. I don't know, 2030.
Yeah, we got announcements of 4, and then we got announced and released for Dread already. Like that came out of nowhere. If they actually got 2 games out before 4 comes out, this could be ridiculous.
I must say though, with all the recent news, I'm surprised nobody here picked Steel Diver that they could make like an Ocean Gate edition. But what are we gonna do?
Oh, I wasn't going there. Okay. With that, I think we're gonna wrap up the episode because that just sank the whole thing. Yeah, I went there. All right. So
You don't like that joke? I'm crushed.
I noticed Chris is just silent, like the depths. Um,
His heart will go on. He's fine.
Is Chris still there? He just shut us off. He's like, I'm done with this. Okay, now I'm
Good
actually
night.
worried. Huh?
Good night.
He never talks to us again. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Stephen, we'll start with you. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, retweeting things I like. Otherwise, lurking, loading_time. You can also find me on the new app that I forgot the name of,
Blue
but Jeremy
Sky.
will remind me.
Blue Sky.
Yes, and they actually had my username, so I am at N1Nintendo.
Nice. All right. Chris, I know it's always the same answer, but where can we find you?
You already have. Right here.
Love it.
But that's about it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. You can find me at Zenspath, Zenspath, over on Twitter. And then on Blue Sky, you can find me at Zenspath.com. I actually got the username tied to the website, so I'm verified by their means, I guess. If you're listening to this podcast as the audio version, you can find the video version, if the video worked this time, over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. If you're watching this and you want to listen to it, you can find us over at Apple Podcasts, zenspath.libsyn.com, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you can find your podcasts. So, all right. Well, this has been episode 91 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast, and we are out. Peace.
Everybody, 1-2 switch.
No.